In the world of Alien, the most terrifying creature we meet isn't 8 feet tall with acid for blood. It's a corporation, a company we've spent decades thinking of as evil, powerful, predatory, and utterly indifferent to human life. But what if Weyland-Yutani didn't start out that way? What if the monster we know wasn't born, but rather structured? What if the shift in its ethics, its culture, and even its visual identity came from a structural change inside the company itself? Because the transformation that turned Weyland-Yutani into a threat has a real-world parallel. And once we get there, it's hard not to see the resemblance. Also, we'll look at some logos. Okay, let's get into it. Before we go any further, we need to clear up decades of fandom confusion. Ask 10 Alien fans when Weyland-Yutani was founded, and half will tell you in the first movie. You can see the name on the Nostromo. And they're not entirely wrong. But they're not right either. Here's what actually happens on screen. In the original Alien from 1979, the company is never named in dialogue. The crew only calls it the company.
How come the company sent us a goddamn robot?
All I can think of is they must have wanted the alien for the weapons division.
But if you freeze frame a few shots, you can spot tiny text on a monitor and even on a beer can that reads Weyland-Yutani. No hyphen, not even a D. It's subtle enough that audiences missed it for decades. So, why doesn't that make the merged company canon in 2122? Because it wasn't canon at the time. According to Ridley Scott on the Alien Quadrilogy commentary, the art department added little corporate touches as world building, not as established lore. Modern canon overwrites it completely. The Weyland-Yutani report, the Prometheus timeline, and all Fox-era corporate lore agree. During the Nostromo mission, Weyland Corp and Yutani Corporation were still separate companies. They did not formally merge until later. The best explanation for this, used by Fox licensed material and the wider alien lore community, is a shadow merger. A period of joint ventures, shared resources, and early co-branding before the full legal merger. This explains why the Nostromo shows hybrid Weyland-Yutani branding while Prometheus still shows Weyland operating independently in 2093. So the company that reroutes the Nostromo under Special Order 937 isn't the optimistic Weyland Corp seen in Prometheus. It's the early-stage Weyland-Yutani hybrid, already morally compromised, already cutting ethical corners, already beginning the slide into something much darker. To understand how the merger changed everything, you first need to meet the parents. First up, Weyland Corp. According to the Prometheus-era canon, Peter Weyland founded the company in 2012. Now, from the beginning, Weyland's culture was built on techno-utopian ambition, deep space exploration, terraforming, advanced AI, synthetic development, and a founder who genuinely believed he could solve mortality. Arrogant? Absolutely. Reckless? Often. But not inherently malicious. And their branding reflected that optimism. Silver, white, blue, clean geometric type, the visual language of a company that thinks it's saving humanity. Then there's Yutani Corporation. They never appear on screen here, but across officially licensed materials, they emerge as a communications and defense giant. They're more conservative, more bureaucratic. They're focused on surveillance systems, government contracts, and infrastructure. If Weyland was Silicon Valley, Yutani was a cold, calculating industrial conglomerate. Not evil, per se, just powerful. Neither company alone fits the villain we eventually meet. At some point after the Nostromo incident, but before the events of Aliens, the companies finalize their merger. And that is where everything shifts. Weyland brought the ambition. Yutani brought the bureaucracy and control. Combined, they produced something neither company had been on its own. A corporation that could justify anything if it benefited the bottom line. Weyland wanted to reshape humanity. Yutani wanted to control it. Weyland-Yutani was profit-driven. And when profit becomes the only value, everything else just becomes expendable, including the crew of a commercial towing vessel rerouted to investigate a distress beacon. This isn't just a fictional idea. Something very similar happened in real life. Before 1997, Boeing was known worldwide for its engineering-first culture. If it isn't safe, it doesn't fly. That wasn't a slogan, it was their identity. Engineers held authority. Safety dictated schedules. The company's internal standards were considered more rigorous than the FAA's. Then, Boeing merged with McDonnell Douglas, a struggling aerospace company known for cost-cutting, executive-driven decision-making, and prioritizing production schedules over engineering concerns. Ironically, the smaller company's culture slowly overtook the larger one. And this isn't speculation. It's documented in the 2020 U.S. House Committee on Transportation Infrastructure Report, the Joint Authorities Technical Review, internal Boeing communications, and multiple whistleblower testimonies. Together, they paint a picture of a company whose values shifted dramatically after the merger. Reduced oversight, weakened engineering authority, schedule pressure, and a culture of concealment. These failures contributed directly to the design and certification issues surrounding the 737 MAX. Failures that led to 2 crashes and 346 deaths. Boeing didn't become unsafe because its engineers suddenly forgot how to build airplanes. It became unsafe because its culture changed, its values changed, and its priorities changed. And that's what happens when a merger rewrites a company's identity. And that's exactly what happens to Weyland-Yutani. Now that we've seen how the ethics shift, let's talk about how the branding shifts. Because the visual identity of Weyland-Yutani tells the truth even when the company doesn't. Weyland's branding was sleek, optimistic, and future-forward. Yutani's was conservative, restrained, institutional. Post-merger Weyland-Yutani branding is something else entirely. It's authoritarian, industrial, brutalist, propagandist. Hazard yellow and industrial black dominate everything from cargo crates to docking signage. This isn't branding, it's a warning palette, borrowed from real 1970s industrial hazard systems, used everywhere workers are expected to obey instructions without hesitation. Typography shifts from clean geometric forms to stenciled lettering, compressed block fonts, and signage borrowed from military facilities. The shape language becomes boxy, modular, ruggedized. Mass-produced equipment meant to be replaced, not refined. Alien Isolation shows us this design approach taken to its logical extreme. Its UX is deliberately unfriendly. Green monochrome CRT displays, bureaucratic menus, redundant confirmations, systems that feel like they resent being used. A friendly interface is built for humans. A hostile one is built for systems. Isolation's design team described their approach as late 70s industrial signage, maritime hazard graphics, and bureaucratic systems. In other words, institutional indifference. Weyland-Yutani endures not because it's a clever sci-fi invention, but because it feels familiar. We live in a world where corporations cut corners, where workers are expendable, where mergers erase cultures, and where systems are optimized for profit instead of people. The Alien franchise isn't warning us about monsters in the dark. It's warning us about decisions made in boardrooms. The Xenomorph is frightening because it's nature. Weyland-Yutani is terrifying because it's a choice. Weyland-Yutani wasn't born evil. It became evil. One decision, one redesign, and one merger at a time. And maybe that's the part that still resonates. The monster didn't come from a crashed alien ship. It came from a corporate culture that forgot what human life was worth. Next time, we'll look at the company Weyland-Yutani wishes didn't exist. Seegson, the Walmart of the stars. And somehow, even more dangerous. In the meantime, why not bioengineer your own terrifying monstrosity? I'll be here when you get back. Okay, I'll see you in the next one.
This is Ripley, last survivor of the Nostromo. Signing off.